Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another roundtable review. Today with Pete and Joe, a slightly reduced roundtable today after last week's sort of record-breaking five-strong lineup
It's because
there.
we're double banking them. We're double banking them. Miles and Josh are off doing
It's
next
a
week's.
Miles Light
Next week.
roundtable. It's a
Yeah.
Josh Light. Yeah, absolutely. For Lucky Day, the fourth episode of the season, so we're halfway through now. Actually, Joe and I were saying beforehand that the title is ironic because I'm not sure anybody in the group
No.
this week has had a lucky day necessarily, or quite the opposite maybe. Like Joe,
Yeah.
you were saying you had a bed drop. What did you drop it
Yeah,
on your
so
own foot or?
So I was at work and basically I had to get checked out by medical because I
Hmm.
dropped a cast iron bed on my foot while I was
Yeah.
taking it apart.
Well,
Miles
fun.
Miles has obviously had something happen, hasn't he?
2:30, yeah. And even Pete as well with your wallet. I mean, you've got it back now, haven't you? But
Yeah, I
Oh,
left
you
my
lost
wallet.
your wallet,
My friend's
and
car.
Oh, blimey.
yeah, and
You lost your kit, obviously.
I lost my
Well,
stuff. The BFI, well, lost. It was stolen. Yeah, but anyway, I'm more positive.
So you want to know more
positive.
information about this? Then just don't ask. He's traumatized.
Yeah. So
Was it you, Pete?
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Oh my god. It was the shriek.
The Shriek.
The shriek. Yeah, Lucky Day, written by Pete McTighe, who I should say, as I've said before, has written the foreword to Go Figure, which will be out eventually at some point.
2031.
Yeah, obviously written previously for the Jodie era and for the collection trailers and stuff.
What did you write? What did you write
in this new
previously
era.
for Doctor Who? Just remind me in
Just
case
to-
I've forgotten.
Well, Kablam,
Oh, gosh.
That's all right.
yeah,
All right.
and a little episode called Praxius.
What's
Hey,
the Auton episode about the
hey.
Autons?
I don't mind it, Pete. Anyway,
He's almost, he's almost
Plastic
got a bit
disease.
he's got a bit of a fetish for autons, hasn't he? He's got a bit of.
there's
like,
been a bit of a
he almost-
recurring thing, hasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's giving people blue balls with autons, but maybe that's not the right phrase. But he's
Interesting.
he's
yeah.
teasing people. He's teasing people.
He's teasing people. Yeah.
Whether they'll return, who knows?
I think it would be good to have another Autumn story at some point. You could do, because I think Big Finish and
Yeah.
stuff with like 3D printing. I even think like, I mean, we're going off topic here, but like, do like Vinted or something, or like eBay and Vinted and like online shopping. Like maybe not, it's not plastic, is it? Maybe in the same
Well, you could
way,
do
but like do
polyester
something,
and
do something
with
like that,
Boohoo
or
clothes
clothes
or
and
something.
stuff. Yeah. Have them like come
But
out
they
the
kinda-
screens and in people's homes and well, we got to think, yeah. But
Yeah, they've kind of done 3D printing, haven't they? With the Dalek one, the Jodie Dalek
Oh, I
one.
forgot about that, yeah. They
oh, and Revolution for the Daleks, yes.
The reconnaissance ones, isn't it? They remake
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
true, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't know you could 3D print metal. I feel like I should know that, but I didn't know you could do that.
They 3D
Well,
print anything, Joe.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Now on to the episode itself.
Yes. Well, I was going to say the only thing about Peter McTighe, he's obviously co-writing and co-show running the upcoming spin-off, The War Between the Land and the Sea, which is 8 words long.
When's
Didn't
that
need to
out?
be.
Next year.
There was an interview this week with
Right,
Russell where he like said, like, he was asked about it, and he said to someone, the interviewer, like, I can't tell you, but there's a very specific date in mind. I don't know whether it's going to be like a similar thing to this season where we're building to this 24th of May thing. Like, does it all hinge on something like that? But I'm kind of thinking,
I heard August, September. I don't know where I heard that from, but
yeah, I'm kind of vaguely thinking either end of this year or maybe start of next or sometime next year if they want to delay it to like make less space, less time between this season and the next one, perhaps like with a class kind of situation. But I don't know.
I was
They're not gonna
told
say
Sarah Jane kind of slots, so Pete, that'd be around like September, October, like when you were similar sort of time to when you were thinking.
Yeah.
That's when I've been told.
Yeah.
But whether they've delayed it any further to like New Year's or something weird, because I don't think we're getting a Christmas special. Although, unless if they cast someone else very quickly.
unless if they make it like on a shoestring budget and
Yeah, because he's in theatre currently, isn't he?
yeah. Well, like Pete, you were saying at the weekend, weren't you? Like Gavin and Stacey, which you worked on, of course, last year, that was turned around in like a couple of months. So I suppose if they make like a Gavin and Stacey style Doctor Who story, that
Yeah, but I
it could be
suppose there
done.
isn't like
But
there's not as much post production, is there, with Gavin and Stacey and special effects?
they'd have to like they'd really kind of rein it in, wouldn't they? And like, yeah, no Shriek,
don't
no
know.
Unit Tower, nothing. Yeah.
I think Return of Doctor Mysterio was actually shot, the Peter Capaldi Christmas special, 2016, I think. Was shot either in August or September, then turned around for December, I think.
I think one of the closest ones was Time of the Doctor. That was like September, I think, of that year. So they've done it before,
Yeah, I think.
haven't they? Maybe in October, I think, maybe going into October. But yes, lucky day. So I really liked this. Yeah. I really like this story. I was buzzing afterwards. I thought, after not loving The Well so much, I'm just feeling it was a bit bogged down by the whole Midnight Link. I thought, hang on, here is a story that is really forward-facing and looking to the future, and it feels very timely, very topical, very in tune with our times, very much like a story that could only be made sort of at the moment, rather than like something that could have been made like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And obviously setting up the spin-off very well as well, I thought. And we'd met the unit characters before, we'd seen the Unit Tower, but here we really tapped into a lot of the issues surrounding this modern iteration of Unit, which I know is a bit controversial with like classic series fans that prefer it to be like some kind of all underground, quaint village country thing. But I quite like the angle of that, the kind of spy thriller kind of thing of like having this big secret organization, well, not so secret, but like all the issues like that come with that, and Unit's place in our world. And Kate Stewart as well, I thought was on fire. Gemma Redgrave, take a bow. So pretty positive on this one myself. But I mean, Joe, what did you think? So I sort of heard some of Pete's thoughts at the weekend, but not so much.
I think
yours.
it was brilliant. Like, I genuinely think it's the best of the series. Like, coming straight after the Midnight sequel, which was quite a bit of competition for certain fans. Because initially going in, I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about this. Because, after our season 1 thoughts, I'm not the hugest fan of Millie Gibson as Ruby. I think she's like Amy Pond. She's like a cheese grater. She just gets on my nerves. But she really held her own this episode.
Interesting.
So, like, I
I
don't know if that was just the new actor Jonah, playing Comrade, helped balance it out a bit more, or she's just developed more as an actress. But I thought it was really brilliant, and they really held their own. And I think if we didn't know what we knew going into this, that twist would have caught us off guard. The way he wrote the relationship was excellent, I just think. And what a great story to do it around, because, like, obviously, once again, it delves into toxic masculinity and how that's, being portrayed
it's
online.
a recurring theme at the moment, isn't it, in this
False
this
news,
season
and it's...
with...
Yeah, and it's brilliant.
And the boyfriends and stuff, like both of the 50th Doctor's companions so far. Well,
Horrible
apart from Joy, if you count Joy, I suppose. But like, it's like if there's a season 3 anytime soon, it's like I suppose they've got to keep up that trend. If they do another companion one day, like toxic boyfriend. Pete, over to you. So I didn't mean to imply anything there.
All right. Thanks, Richard. So I was actually going to keep my thoughts a secret until the round table, but obviously at the BFI we were chatting about all sorts of stuff. And I think you kind of know my thoughts already. But not a big fan of Pete McTighe, nothing personally, but his writing hasn't really ever done it for me before. But a story a bit like Love and Monsters was going to be right up my street, because Earthbound Doctor Who's my favourite Doctor Who. I like the modern day stuff. I like when we get to delve into companions' personal lives a little bit more. I love the Power of Three. I know a lot of people complain about the kind of conclusion to that one, which I understand, but I think that's quite a strong story in terms of seeing the effects that the Doctor has on a mere mortal. But I really enjoyed it. I watched it with a load of other Doctor Who fans because I was at the Spearhead convention on Saturday, and we watched it on a big screen, and it was pretty cool. I thought it was one of those stories that kind of went a different way to how I was expecting it to go, because I kind of had a feeling that Jonah was going to be, was he called Jonah? Conrad was going to be was going to be a baddie, because I'd seen certain bits of filming from like a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was. So I had seen little bits, and kind of assumed he was going to be a baddie. But even so, when the episode started off, I thought it was going to be a different type of story. I thought it was going to be more about the PTSD of Ruby and the effects of traveling with the Doctor and what that does to someone. And I thought it was going to go a bit more in depth with that. And I kind of don't mind that it didn't, because I think the actual story we ended up with was pretty good. But it was a bit of a gear change halfway through when you obviously find out that he is a baddie. Because I quite liked the PTSD element of it, and I found myself getting quite emotional about it, because I kind of thought it's a bit of an allegory for mental health. And for anybody that doesn't know, I volunteer for Andy's Man Club, which is a mental health group, and I'm quite a big advocate for mental health. I've struggled with my own mental health, and I think that would have been quite a nice way to go down the story. Would be for the space travels to be an allegory for depression or anxiety, or a bit like Vincent and the Doctor in that regard. That would have been quite nice. And I found myself getting quite emotional when that scene when Ruby realizes that she's been affected a lot more than she thought she had, because real life trauma, it does hit you when you least expect it. It could be 6 months down the line, a year down the line, and it can be the smallest thing that can trigger it. So I thought that was very well done, that bit. But then obviously the episode does change into Andrew Tate land, which I did like. I think it was probably a little bit too similar to the opener for me, with the
interesting
AI generator. I thought the two things were a little bit too similar. But probably not to waffle on, because I know it's a round table, so I'll pass it round. But probably my favourite episode since, I was going to say Power of the Doctor, but I think I do like the giggles. Maybe my favourite episode since the giggle. I think probably my favourite Shooty episode. Really enjoyed it. I'm really surprised as well, and I take back everything I said about Pete McTighe. I think he's done a good one here. I'll have to rewatch Practice in a new light. Yeah.
No, I was surprised by it as well, because even as Joe was alluding to, I think this story was one where out of all the episodes this year, we'd seen loads of stuff, more than any other story, loads of stuff from filming and leaks and stuff, and the hoax thing, the whole twist with that, had even been spoiled. I think on the day or the week when that was filmed, 18 months ago.
His mate had been seen or something.
So the tabloid had taken a photo of a guy in the Shriek costume, or the fake Shriek costume, with the mask off, which, okay, in itself doesn't mean anything. But they'd sussed out that same person had been spotted playing one of Conrad's mates earlier on, which, on the one hand, the dedication there, it's oh my God. But it's a shame that... well, yeah. It's a shame that had to kind of get out in that way. But even so, I wasn't sure what the angle was going to be with that. Okay, so maybe there's a fake monster, but is the whole thing fake? Does the Shriek even exist, or is even back to that first scene with the Doctor and Ruby? Is that a fake monster as well? Is it going to be a whole Scooby-Doo thing? And equally as well, with Conrad, I kind of knew from the filming stuff that he was going to turn out to be a bad egg, but I remember the filming I quite saw it transpiring in the way that it did with this. So that was good. Yeah, surprising.
Yeah, the filming was quite well publicised. I remember, because I'm not someone who really looks into spoilers and looks into when things are being filmed, filming reports and stuff. But I do remember a lot from this episode coming out, and I think there's the scene where they're about to get on the bus. I remember when that was being filmed, and I remember other bits. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it was. It's a shame that certain bits do get out like that. But I also suppose it's been so long since it was filmed that a lot of us have forgotten so many of the details.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Is it over a year and a half ago now? It must be.
This was
shot November, isn't it? 23?
Yeah. So the final scene with the Doctor, which was brilliant, obviously, and Doctor and Conrad in the TARDIS, that was shot on the 60th anniversary of the show on 23rd November 2023.
That's quite nice.
Which
isn't it?
is
a really
crazy, isn't it? That's crazy to think.
So that was done 3 days before the first round table was recorded.
Yeah. And 2 days before the Star Beast, before anything had aired from this era as well.
Before the Richard Lloyd universe was a thing.
The multiverse.
The round table verse.
The Lloydiverse.
Get rid of the Hooniverse, just the Richard verse.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, don't we? Yeah. But
Someone needs to make you an ident now for whenever
Come
you
on,
do a
someone
video.
can do it.
come on, everyone. Yeah.
What clips are you going to use in all the letters? That's what I want to know. You know.
Oh, well, I'll have to go back and find some shots of us when we were that bit younger and different haircuts and things, different outfits.
I'll tell you what was good this week. I thought that one of you, I think, alluded to it a little bit before, but I thought Kate Stewart was really, really good, and Gemma Redgrave was really good. Because I've been a bit Marmite on her, and nothing against Gemma, and I've met Gemma and she's lovely, and I like having Unit in Doctor Who, and I like that they've connected it to the Brigadier, and I like all that stuff. But I have struggled a bit with her acting. She hasn't quite done it for me. I listened to another podcast earlier today where someone compared her to a wooden spoon, and
oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, maybe that is a bit harsh, but
yeah.
I kind of almost know what they're getting. I have struggled a little bit with her, but in this episode she was fantastic. She was phenomenal. She was really good, and I think part of it is she was given a bit more to do, because in the first few episodes when she first started with Matt Smith and even some of the Capaldi ones, and even some of the later ones, she hasn't really been given that much to do. So it was really nice that she got some real meaty drama to get her teeth into. It was good. Yeah,
yeah. I think with every appearance she's had, they've developed her more, because there are some unforgivable examples. I mean, I think the biggest one that everybody would go back to is The Magician's Apprentice, where she's literally like asking Clara questions.
I don't know. I think when she passes out in Death in Heaven and they have her fly out of the plane and she's just unconscious for the rest of the episode.
I think they should. One mistake I think they've made with Kate Stewart is I think they should have some sort of home life for her. They should have some kids, or they should have a husband or wife or something. I think not having that, she's a little bit 2D, and maybe that's what they're trying to do now with Colonel Ibrahim and have something going on there. Just a bit more of an actual character, because she feels like she works at Unit and that's it. She doesn't leave that building. She doesn't, have anything.
Sure.
But I thought the final few scenes were phenomenal, and I thought that watching it on the big screen, obviously with a load of other Doctor Who fans, you do get a different experience out of these things, and like hearing the music and the sound effects. There's kind of a heartbeat sound at one point that was just so tense watching it live, and you know me, I don't do tense, I don't do atmospheric, but for me it really worked. It was really good stuff. And it's made me a little bit angry about the world ever since. That's the only negative, perhaps, is I've been on a real downer ever since it was broadcast. Maybe part of that is because Richard's bag was stolen, and I just thought, there's some nasty people out there. But the whole Conrad thing, I suppose, has been floating around my head, and just think, it's not a very fair world. There's a lot of nasty people out there. So that's the only, I suppose, slight negative.
Yeah, close to the bone, I suppose, kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's.
I like it being Doctor Who being fantasy, but it was a bit too realistic. Well, not sure.
I have to say, it got very dark. Like, I don't know if you'll need to edit this out, Richard, but when he's walking around when he's walking around with the gun at the end, like, I'm going to say it felt very school shooter, and like with everything
like terrorists
in the media, with kids being indoctrinated from a young age and like harming one another. I was just looking at it like
it was almost tortured levels.
I know. I was looking at it like, are we really going here? Like, as an adult, I don't mind this, but, kids, you know what I mean? Is this a subject matter we should be going into in Doctor Who? That's up for debate, you know what I mean?
Because it's like when we first saw that shot, I think, at Christmas or whenever, when they released the trailer and the first promo pics and stuff, and there's that shot of, like, Ruby and the Unit gang in the Unit room. And it's like, what are they? And the Colonel Ibrahim's got his gun out and stuff. It's like, who are they facing? Who's just entered the unit control room? And it's like, I would never in a million years have kind of guessed that it would just be
a human.
But like Conrad, just like a kind of a terrorist, or like the
guy from the Little Mermaid
or
whatever.
I know,
Whatever it's called. Yeah.
No, that's crazy as well to think.
The only thing I was a bit unsure about, and maybe you guys can kind of clarify it, is, or the only bit that kind of didn't quite work for me, was how much Conrad actually believed, in terms of, did he actually believe in aliens? Because he did see the Shriek with the Doctor and Ruby, and kind of connected to that. Surely, his podcast, if he had like 1 million followers, if he's like a Richard Lloyd and he's got all those subscribers, surely they would. Millie Gibson and Unit certainly would know what is really genuine.
Cherry in her bed on Instagram, and would have found.
Well, it's like the Unit guy that's helping him out. Why are Unit not doing proper background searches on these people? Like listening to like Albion, like he's listening to Albion, you know, the TV show. Obviously, that's a reference, like the John William thing from last year.
Yes,
but he low key wanted like nuclear weapons. Why is he listening to all this stuff? Why aren't they like, maybe we should pull this guy in for an interview?
Yeah, it's like the recurring thing as well of like the inside man at Unit. Like we've had that with Harriet last year, Harriet Arbinger, and I suppose it's kind of relying on those same old tropes to make the story work. Which it's a totally fair point, and like with the thing with Conrad's online social media presence as well. I don't know, how did he hide that? Did he?
I think it would have been quite clever. It would have been quite clever if Cherry had been the one to clock it. To find out. If Cherry had gone, "Ooh, this looks a bit." If she, if they spent the whole episode with her being over dramatic about it and going, you don't go to that village. People look at me in that village, and they built up and it was like, oh, she was right the whole time. That would have been quite funny and quite interesting. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you, Pete. Is that like that's a side they kind of didn't delve into. Was like also how he makes his money. Like it's briefly mentioned, I think, by Shirley that he's a tax dodger, isn't he? He has like 80,000 paid subscribers, and it's like if he's got this network that he's using, to use his words to weaponize people against Unit, like why we didn't see any of like his his influence or more build up to it earlier on, like pages or something. Or they could have done some cool marketing for the series where they could have set up a fake account. Just saying.
Yeah.
It could maybe have got misconstrued though by certain people.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point because I've seen people kind of put out as well with the whole the one show thing. Like I've seen some people take issue with that. Yeah, because like it wouldn't happen in the real world. But then I like the idea as well that some people have said that like I don't know, it's a bit on the nose, or it's a bit kind of an exaggeration, but it shows that like this stuff kind of does pervade. Well, like it can enter the mainstream. It's in the mainstream. It's there, not to the same level
Andrew
as this.
Tate did, didn't he? Really?
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like these people can.
He did a lot of podcasts, didn't he? Famous influencers, and then he ended up actually on ITV and all sorts. Getting actually interviewed.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to do it.
I think, especially because you've only got 45 minutes as well. There's always going to be slight things that are missed out, or slight things that you have to skip through. Because I've seen people complaining online that they go from him revealing that he's a baddie to everyone hating Unit in the space of about 30 seconds in a montage, and they do. But that's kind of that's like a convention of TV, and that's the way they do it, And if it was a two-parter, they could have fleshed it out a little bit more, and they could have done more with that. But
there's always going to be that thing as well, I suppose, because obviously, like watching it back and thinking, does this add up? Does this match? Obviously, it's an act that he's putting on in the first half, but there are certain things like him taking the photo of Ruby outside the TARDIS that you look back on, like with that lens, and think, hang on a minute. And I don't know how much I remembered as well. Oh, there's like another moment. It's the scene with Ruby and him in the coffee shop or the restaurant or whatever it is, and the whole thing with it likes the taste and whatever that thing is.
Well, that was good.
That fake sequence, which in itself, was great. But I kind of watched it back and thought, oh, this is like. Well, I've seen some people say, which is interesting, that this is like him. Like we sort of see the true him there because it's like he's genuinely scared by it. But then also there's another layer because it's like you almost kind of get the sense that in that moment, that's kind of what the instructions almost for how he then carries out that hoax later on. It's like she's kind of giving him all of the pointers, like
the seeds,
the lights would flicker. Yeah, exactly. And like then you see that stuff happen like beat for beat later on, which I thought was Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
I'll tell you, his
that
mate, the
kind of
electrician,
adds value to
absolute whiz. He can mess with bus signs.
it. Yeah, and we should say as well, I suppose, that the pub, Paul Jericho returning as not the Mind Probe. What's his
is it that
face from
guy?
the Five Doctors?
Castellan.
Yeah,
That is
I actually
brilliant.
I remember the other week, Pete, we were together, and I think had he cancelled for an event or something, and we said, oh, like,
He'd cancelled for Spearhead, which was,
Oh,
meant
for
to,
that
was the
one.
same day Lucky Day was broadcast.
He could have price hiked. He could have put his autograph up.
yeah, because I remember, I think Pete, you
we
said,
were
oh,
joking.
yeah, like, oh, he's not going to be getting any work. Like,
No,
why is he cancelled?
Why is Paul Jericho cancelled? What's he doing nowadays? And like a week later, he got announced that he was in the new series of Doctor Who. It was like, all right.
There we go. Fair enough.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he does do a lot of theatre work though. Apparently, he's on a tour at the moment, so he does
Okay.
do stuff. But yeah,
Fair.
you wouldn't think it. Yeah.
No, he put in a good performance here as the bartender or the landlord or whatever. But yeah, should we maybe turn then maybe to the upcoming episode, which it feels strange to say next week or the next episode because it's literally like
Tomorrow,
the time of recording. It's tomorrow. Yep, it's tomorrow. The story and the engine written by Inua Ellams. Take the Doctor to
Who appears in it as well.
Nigeria. He does. Yeah.
Briefly.
And it's nice again because that's happened occasionally in the past, and like writers have cameoed, like Mark Gatiss and Toby Whithouse and Derek Sherwin in the classic series. Is that right? In Spearhead, and there's stuff like that, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, Victor Pemberton was in
Yes.
one
of
some
them.
sort of experiment. someone will correct
Yes,
me if
that
I'm wrong.
rings a bell.
And
Yeah,
and Russell T Davies was in one of the Tortures, wasn't he?
I heard him
The
mention
voice.
that today, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think I maybe knew, but I'd forgotten. Yeah, like a voice only thing, I think, isn't it? But
I think it's the second to last Torchwood Miracle Day. His voice is on a
on
radio,
the radio or something, isn't it? Yeah.
in a scarf or something. Yeah.
So, any perhaps I shouldn't say predictions. Any hopes for this? Spoiler-free
No.
hopes for this story? Yeah. Expectations. Thoughts?
I don't really know a lot about it, which is quite nice. It's quite nice
Yeah.
going in and not knowing.
I think
Yeah.
the least has leaked about this one, to be honest.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
If what is true, which I'll leave out, is true, that's just going to be like a really minor thing. It's not going to, it's possibly just going to be one scene. So I don't actually think the story, and also I'd be kind of disappointed because it's in the trailer, so I don't care. The spider exploding at the end, if that's the way it gets defeated, why show that? I really hope it's like a ruse, for something else to come in,
Yes.
surprisingly.
The big
because
boss
that
comes
just
later or something. Yeah.
Very weird to just be like,
Yeah, I've seen people say that the barber is a Time Lord. I don't know whether that's going to go anywhere, but
is the
Could
barber
be. I mean,
capitalized?
yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Then potentially. Because Mrs. Flood's called the governor in this, quickly touching on that. At the end of the
Yes.
season.
Yeah. I was going to say
that's
as well, of course, Pete, we've seen the barber on stage, haven't we? And it's the same actor who played
Is that who it
Leandro
is?
in The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Woman Who Fell to Earth. The Woman Who Lived. Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Because I saw him in the credits and wasn't sure who he played. There is also an actor. I don't know if it's in this episode or the song contest one, but there's an actor that I saw at the theatre last year. That the person I was with was quite close to Doctor Who.
yes. And you told me about that, and yes.
Yeah, the guy who was with said you need to
That
get the
was
program
him.
signed because he's going to be in Doctor Who. So I think it's the song
wow.
contest one, so it's not connected
Yeah.
to this, but
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wheels
Anything else?
within wheels, yeah. Mrs. Flood, I mean, we touched on it there.
She's up to something.
Yes.
I guess.
It's quite nice. It's quite nice that she's teaming up with other people though, and it looks like it's actually going somewhere now rather than just being I'm on the well and I'm looking for the Doctor and
Well,
Yeah.
we said this, Rich. This is like so much better. Like, obviously, people are fans of 73 yards, but for a tentpole mid-season episode,
Yes.
this is so much better because it's set up the finale,
Absolutely.
or at least the
Yeah.
what we assume are the playing cards for the finale.
Yeah,
It's
or
getting
some
the
of them
characters in
released.
place.
Yeah, but 73 yards kind of did that with the. It
It's
did
the
tie in
John
with
Atwill.
the.
That's the only thing I have a problem
Yeah.
with is the fact he gets referenced and then, oh, we're off to his office.
Yeah, it's not as strong a link.
This
yeah.
feels different. These are actual people, and events are getting put in place.
Well, I like the idea that like we've got like she's recruited this person who's got this vendetta against the Doctor, and like we've seen his kind of literally his villain origin story. I mean, he was a villain before. But, well, I don't know. Is he a villain because of that initial encounter with the Doctor? I guess 'cause he met him as a child. But yeah, his villain origin story is what we've seen. And that's like
He's
a great
lost an
story
arm
in its
now,
own
so
right.
He's going to be really angry.
Exactly, but he's got that reason. He's got a physical reminder of it as well. And then someone has come along who can just like fuel that fire and like, yeah, like it reminds me of stuff like Adam in Torchwood, the brother of Jack, or even Adam. It's the same name, isn't it? Adam in series 1 of Doctor Who. Like if he'd come back, a bit like in the
just called him
comics
Adam.
when he comes back and he teams up with the Master in the comics. Like it's a similar idea there. Yeah. There we go.
I grabbed it off
No
the
way.
shelf just before we started recording because I watched the long game was 20 on Wednesday, so I watched that and I was explaining to my brothers. I was like, "Oh, there's this crazy comic where he's the baddie in it," and they were like, "What?" So
Yeah.
I need to. I grabbed it off to prove it to them. So I'm going to go show that to them afterwards.
Oh, very, very
Sorry,
timely.
not
Yeah.
connected. Not
Was that the
connected,
50th anniversary comic?
Yeah.
That's the 50th.
IDW, wasn't it?
Like
Yeah.
comic to do of all people
And
to
it's the
bring
Anthony
back.
Ainley Master as well, isn't it? And like between them, they capture all of the Doctors, and it doesn't Adam like he gets redeemed at the end.
all the companions,
He
and then
saves
gets he saves
all
the day at the
the
end.
companions. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause that reminded me
really
actually.
old?
It did remind me of that this week.
Yeah, go check it out anyway.
I need to read that at some point. Yeah, because I've seen snatches of
Yeah,
it before,
good.
and like been really intrigued. It's good story, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Not read it for ages, but I enjoyed it when I read it.
Well, there we go.
Anything
A
else?
good
Okay.
comic story and a good a good TV story. I think that just about does it. Lucky day. Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully, this will be out in time for it still to have been this week's episode. If I get this out really quickly, yeah, and your predictions very briefly in the final few hours for Storyline Engine. Let us know in the comments. Otherwise, I mean, thank you, Pete and Joe, for joining me. Hopefully, we'll have a fuller roundtable next week after our Miles and Josh Light episode here. But yeah,
Thank
otherwise,
you for inviting us. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no problem.
We're just double banking. It's going to be the Richard Light episode next week.
Yeah.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Goodbye,
that'd be
everyone.
interesting. Yeah. Bye bye.
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 Go and get your hair cut at Omo's Barbers.
I thought you were talking to me. Then. I said my hair's short enough as it is.